Yeah, we were saying, our depravity and total depravity and total inability takes us to areas where, we don't like to. They drag us to areas where we really don't want to be. But then, we permit it. If you're a believer and if the depravity wants to drag you to some areas, it's your own mistake. There's no excuse for it. Yes. So when the obligation is unfulfilled, man is held accountable for the incapacity is not created but self-caused. There are obligations. Every husband is obligated to do certain things at home. Every wife is obligated to do certain things at home. I have no excuse in not fulfilling my duty as a husband. Absolutely no excuse. Whether I feel good or not, I have it. It's my duty. The only time I can be excused is when I am physically incapacitated because of some serious sicknesses. Otherwise, I am supposed to do what I am supposed to do. I cannot say I'm sorry. No, there's no sorry. There's no need for sorry. You are supposed to do it. Why you didn't do it? So I have to ask forgiveness to wife and husband and to the Lord, and then make a new resolution that you ask God to give you extra grace because seems to be a weak area, but you cannot excuse. God never excuses in the failure of our obligation. We have to. But we all know that. A lot of people, there are disciplines that you do, say in your home you eat breakfast at 8 o'clock. There is no excuse for not getting breakfast at 8 o'clock. Except in those days when my wife is completely sick, she cannot get up in the morning, then I get up and make breakfast at 8 o'clock. Breakfast has to be served at 8 o'clock. That's a rule. It's not the rule of the Persians, but it is a rule. Lunch has to be served at a certain time. There's certain things, that's part of certain discipline. I cannot tell my wife, I have forgotten to buy vegetables. She told me, because I do all the purchases. My wife does not go out to purchase. Occasionally we go together, otherwise. I cannot say, I'm sorry. So immediately I say, sorry, I'll go and get it. How tired I am, what hour of the night it is, there's no excuse for me. So wherever I travel, when I reach near my home, I usually call and ask her, you want anything, vegetables or any other item to be purchased. And certain things, it's my wife's responsibility to tell me what she needs in the kitchen. It's not my responsibility to ask her what she needs. It's her responsibility. So there is a place where on the paper she will scribble. I have to just take that paper. Or I'll ask some, but usually she will tell. She will give in writing. Yeah. Sometimes I forget. That's my, I leave the paper on my table or something, and then I look everywhere. Then I call my wife, say that I can't see the paper. She said, it's here. So tell me, dictate again. My obligations have to be met.
SMS is a better idea.
Yeah.
SMS is
Yeah, well, it's not a better idea. Because, our faculty of today's young people's mind does not work. They cannot remember anything. They cannot remember any address, they cannot remember any number, they cannot remember anything. For everything they have to depend on that machine. Why God made this machine for that purpose? I think we should continuously use our mind, then only it will be sharper. So what happens? After a certain age, your mind is blank and there's nothing recorded there. And you have to depend on it, and you are not able even to depend on that one very much, because your mind has to, it is your mind that gives you the ability to give the commandment, but your mind comes, so to sharpen your mind, you have to keep using it. The more you use it, the more sharper. So even in the old age, people who read their books and all that, they very seldom have dementia and all, because they are continuously using. Every day you are using, so your brain cells are charged. So this idea of depending upon that machine for everything is not my idea. Yeah. As much as possible, think yourself. Today's people don't think. You take away that thing, smartphone or something from their hand and say something, they cannot say anything. They all have to look into it. So it's not a good idea. It's an emergency. It should be used as an emergency. Use your mind. God created you with a mind, with hands and fingers and everything. So, so don't over depend upon those machines. So anyway, we never get an excuse for not doing our obligations. God never excuses us for our incapacity, because God created with full capacity. We only are responsible for our incapacity. Some people are born, with a less intelligence. You cannot expect too much from them. People born with less intelligence, even intelligence is not something you can actually develop. You can only use the intelligence you have. But some people have less, only in such exceptional cases. But most people have average intelligence. That is more than sufficient, because you need only 10% of your intelligence. 5% only to survive. Einstein and all used maybe 10% or 15% most. So we don't need a whole lot of intelligence. We are not using it. We are not using it. Parents doing the homework for the children, what are they doing? Let the children do their homework, then only their mind will be sharpened. It is not the amount of marks you get, it is the amount of mind you use. That's important. So God holds man responsible to obey God's perfect law, in which God knows sinful man cannot obey. God knows sinful man cannot obey, but God holds you responsible. Why? Because I did not create you this messy situation. I created you a normal, perfect person, so you are held responsible for that. Yes. So we can never excuse ourselves or think that God will excuse us because we have this problem or that problem. No. The inability we have is a choice of man. And for every disobedience of God's law, man is held accountable. If man was created with their deficiency, destitute of sound reason, destitute of good conscience, or destitute of a will, then man would not be obligated to obey God's law. That is why certain people are mentally, what do you call them, retarded people you call them. Well, I don't think God is going to hold them responsible for many things, because they are retarded. They are created with, less capacity than others. But average people, oh no, we are all going to be held responsible. Because we are normal people. So if man was created sinful, then man would not have been obligated. But since man was created holy with plenary power to keep perfectly the moral law, therefore man was obligated to keep the law. At the point of creation, ability and obligation were equal. Only ability went down, obligation never went down. So obligation even today remain the same. Our ability has gone down. That's not God's mistake. So we should never try to excuse, if it's a matter related to our obligation, our duty. No excuse. Just do it. That's it. Yes. Privileges, yes, that's different. Privileges, we can let go. I don't want that privilege. But duty, obligation, I cannot let go. My father was very different from other parents, other fathers. When we grew up, there were certain things considered my duty. Education was my privilege. Father said, it's not your right. It's my privilege. And you can enjoy it as long as you fulfill your duties. So we had 7 cows at home. It was my duty to cut enough grass every day for all those 7 cows. Whether tomorrow I have the final exam, BA or BSc or SSLC, Father said, that's not my problem, it's your problem. Because education is your privilege. Cutting grass is your duty. So you cut the whole grass, that is for 24 hours I have cut, from that evening till next evening. So I come home and I cut grass. Our land had a lot of grass. I cut the grass and then come and study and all. As Father said, that's your. Father felt that it was his duty to provide the food at home, not mine. So he will provide. So there were duties divided, and sometimes I felt my dad was very unreasonably high because my mother was a heart patient most of her in the whole life, but my father felt it was her duty to get up at 4 o'clock, fix coffee for him, and he wanted 2 eggs and coffee at 4 o'clock in the morning. Whether you have heart attack or not, it's your duty. You happen to be a wife. And so my father always demanded, my mother always provided, because she will boil her eggs in the evening, keep it on his table with salt and pepper, everything, and coffee in the flask and all. My father was happy. You did your duty. So there is no tension as long as my mother is doing her duty. There is no argument, no fight, nothing. They are very happy.
Our husbands are better.
What is that?
Our husbands are better.
Our husbands are better. Your husbands are better, but my father was very good. Yeah, my father was very, strict disciplinarian. He will do all his duties. You never have to tell him anything. His duty will be done. That's his way of life. It's very difficult to adjust with somebody who doesn't want to go, in that line. If you are a right-oriented person, you have a problem. But if you are a duty-oriented person, you have no problem. That's my father taught us. Be duty-oriented, not right-oriented. Demanding your right always. Duty-oriented, always fulfilling your duty. My rights are always somebody else's duty, right? At some time my rights were my father's duty.
Okay.
So when he fulfilled his duty, I have my rights. My rights are my wife's duties. My wife's duties are all my rights. And my wife's rights are all my duties. And the other way. So if I do my duty, then she gets her rights.
When one is happening, there is a problem.
Yes. When one is demanding the rights without the other fulfilling the duties, there is a problem. So I always say, do it. God is doing the same thing. Do your duties. God will do his rights. He will fulfill his duties. So our rights will always be maintained. But God's rights are our duties. He has a right to be worshipped. It's my duty to worship. He has a right to be loved. It's my duty to love him. So if I am a duty-oriented person, then my relationship with my God will be very perfect. Yes. But we operate the other way around. That's the problem. That's when the problem. So our theology has to be a little, corrected. So when your wives demand something from your husbands, always think the other way. Have I done all my duties? Yes. And the husbands also, before demanding anything from the wives, we simply ask the question, have I done my duty? You know. If you have done your duty, then if the other person doesn't do their duty, then you can ask very much. My father wanted the eggs and coffee, but it was his duty to buy the eggs and the coffee powder and the sugar, everything. That he will always make sure. It's there. My mother doesn't have to do a miracle of creating eggs and sugar, no. See that? But nowadays husbands want the coffee and the eggs without buying the coffee powder and the eggs. That's where the problem comes.
Somebody saying very true.
So and then the fight starts.
He thought maybe Christina.
Well, how we respond a lot has to do with the reality in our own life. Yes, everybody is the same way, Yes. So if man was created with the deficiency, destitute of sound reason, destitute of good conscience, a deficient will, then man would not be obligated to obey God's law. But God created man perfect. Therefore, God has the right to demand obedience. Yes. God does all his duties. The sun rises at 6 o'clock in the morning. Sunshine there, rain comes in time. And, there is plenty of air and water and everything. And God does everything perfectly in time. You never have to give a call to God, say, the sun is not up there, God, you're sleeping, something. You never have to. All his duties are there. He fulfills. Yes. So we have all our rights, but God does not have his rights met because we are deficient. So teach children this basic lesson from the very childhood. Teach them. You do your duty. Lot of things is a privilege. You may get it, you may not get it. Your rights you don't need to demand. As long as you do your duties, it will automatically come. When your rights are not met, it may be because certain aspect of the duty is not fulfilled. So if you feel that your parents do not love you, check whether you are honoring your parents. That's your duty. Which father will not love the son who honors him? Which mother will not love a child if the child honors the mother? It very seldom happens, very seldom. When the children are honoring the parents and obeying the parents, whatever they say, parents will be loving such children more than anybody else because such children are very hard to find. So often we have the problem because we are not obeying them, we are not honoring them. So the conflict comes. That's the reason. Husband-wife relationship also, that's the same. The same. So it's good for us to learn this basic lesson. But after creation, holiness and plenary power, any alteration be made in the original ratio between ability and obligation by the creature's voluntary agency is against God's absolute will and God's mandate. It cannot alter our obligations. The total depravity and the total inability man has after the first sin is not part of creation. If ability is weakened or ability is lost by self-initiation, obligation is not weakened or lost. So we should never assume for a moment that we will be excused concerning our duty. Never. Every commandment addresses a duty. Pray without ceasing. It's our duty to pray to God or to praise God. Every commandment addresses a part of the duty. That's why obedience is fulfilling our duty. And every promise touches upon our rights. But God promised, you pray, I will answer. You know, we have a right to be answered only after we pray. So if you don't pray, don't expect answers from God. Because He is not obligated to answer unspoken, request. Sometimes when we say that I have an unspoken request, well, you can pray for it. How can I pray for? You're unspoken. What is it? What am I praying for? You want your neighbor to be killed in an auto accident so that you can have more freedom to... what is this unspoken? No. So unspoken you can pray. You know what it is. So you pray. Or you speak out, we will pray. Yes. The result of sin cannot excuse the sin itself. Anselm said it. The result of sin cannot excuse the sin itself. You did not study, so you failed. Your result is you failed. That cannot excuse the fact that you did not study. Nobody can say so that God gave you the result, punishment. No. The Father's punishment will be there, whether God gave you or not. It will be there. But these days it won't be there, I know. Because fathers are not interested. Yes. But it's, we are. Even men like Aristotle in his discourse on ethics has stated this principle. To punish people even for their ignorance itself, if they are the cause of their own ignorance, is justice. To punish people for their ignorance itself is justified if that ignorance is the cause of their own ignorance. Sometimes we do that. We are ignorant of many facts simply because we are ignorant of the fact that if we read this book, the Bible has the answer for my problem. But I am ignorant of the fact that the Bible has answered that particular problem. God does not excuse saying that, oh, you did not know that the Bible had. No, God said, I gave you a book to read. If you are reading it every day, you don't own it. But God, I never knew you have things like this discussed in the book. God says, forget about it. You are held responsible. How can you say that? He said the punishment for drunkenness, for it was in their power not to drink, and drunken is the cause of whatever violation they have done. The person is held responsible because after he got drunk, he didn't know where the way was. The vehicle was, was it a car coming, or it was, the cloud or whatever it may be, he is held responsible. He cannot say that, well, after I got drunk, I couldn't see anything, sir. I couldn't even see where the road was. That's not an excuse for causing the accident. Everybody is sleeping. Sound sleep. Sleep is sweet, right? Especially when subject is like this. Yeah? We need sleep, for sure. You used to take a nap in the afternoon, every day. Only when you have Bible classes?
Night we did not sleep properly.
Night you did not sleep properly. But it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Yeah, some nights I don't sleep because, somehow lay down, I can't sleep, I don't know why. Maybe Satan, but that's not an excuse to sleep when the class is going on. Yeah. Well, anyway, I said all these things so that you will not sleep. You know what happened if you sleep? Adam slept when he got up, you know. The beginning of all the troubles. Eve. So I tell people, don't sleep. Eve will come. You know why she was called Eve? Because it was in the evening. Its sun was setting. Yeah, well, it's nice to get a wife, though. The best thing after receiving Jesus Christ, the best thing happened in my life is that I married. Yes. See, only one person agreed. Yeah, that was true. It's very true. Yes.
He's waiting for you.
Yes, it is. It's something, you know. A good wife. If you don't get a good wife, that will be the worst thing that could happen. Honestly. Oh, some gentlemen suffering and some ladies are suffering like anything. You know, they married the wrong person. Yes. So if a person ought to know whatever the law, he is punished when he violates. If you go to America, if you say, I did not know that people write here on the right side. So in India we all drive on the right side, left side. So I drove here also, sir, and caused the accident. What the police will say? Very good. No, I say, who cares where you drive in India? The moment you landed in our land with a visa, it is assumed that you know all the American laws. It's taken for granted. Whether you know or not is besides the point. You cannot violate our law. So ignorance of the law is not excused. Yes. Ignorance of a fact is excused, but ignorance of the law is not excused. You threw a stone into the wood, it hit a man there. But you didn't know there was a man hiding in the forest. So that's ignorance of a fact. But suppose the law says no stone throwing, and you threw the stone. You know, then you are guilty of throwing stone and causing the death of a person. Otherwise, it's an involuntary killing, but you know, it's a different article you will be charged with. So, the moment you got saved at least, you are supposed to know the whole Bible. So the moment you got saved, because it is God's rule book for believers, get saved. You are supposed to know the Bible. Because this is the rule book for every Christian. A Christian's life is governed by the Bible. How can I say I don't know? But you are supposed to start reading. Well, if you suppose to start reading every day, then you start reading those portions which applies to you now today than the Old Testament. You know. So you're supposed to read and you're supposed to. Well, that's a different matter. If you don't understand, nobody can say I don't understand anything. Yeah. You know, what we're supposed to do, it's made very clear. Some things that are more complicated, they are not things we have to do. Like the question you asked. You know, it won't affect your spirituality. What is this power talking about? Some people don't have it. You know, it's nice to know it, but it's not absolutely, you know, it's not mandatory for you to know it. It's not going to affect your Christian life. But there are many simple commandments: pray without ceasing, quench not the Spirit, grieve not the Holy Spirit, you know. Oh, everybody can understand that. Everybody can understand. Some explanations may be needed, but that's part of your growth. So there is no excuse for a Christian not reading the Bible. But the sad thing is, a lot of people don't read their Bible. They claim to be Christians, but they don't read the Bible. You start talking with them and they say that I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. So what are you supposed to do? Tell them. Eh? What are you supposed to know? You say you don't know.